The Crotchety Old Men podcast is not a registered investment, legal, or tax advisor or a broker-dealer. All investment financial opinions expressed by or on the Crotchety Old Men podcast are from the personal research and experience of the owner of the site and are intended as educational material. Although best efforts are made to ensure that all information is accurate and up to date, occasionally unintended errors and misprints may occur. Before you invest or make any investment-based decisions, consider your own personal circumstances. You should do your own research and seek advice from a financial professional.
Well, welcome to another happy Thursday, or what I like to say is Thirsty Thursday, with an episode of the Crotchety Old Men. Again, joining me in the studio today is my best partner in crime, George Crumley. Good morning, George.
Hey, good morning, Gary. How you doing this morning?
Man, I'm doing super fantastic.
That's great. That's great. Another Thursday, another opportunity to share some knowledge, some information, and hey, just kind of enlighten our audience.
Absolutely. You know, I wake up on Thursdays looking forward to the opportunities to share, like we like to say, wisdom, knowledge, and information with our audience. And so take it away, George. What are we talking about today?
Well, Gary, we're always talking about educating our audience, but, we're always educating ourselves also. And I know you ran across a great book that you brought to my attention. It's called The Banker's Code. It's by George Anton. And we were sitting around talking for our audience, and we recorded Gary actually giving us some an overview of the book. We highly encourage you to go out and read the book. But here again, it talks about, how money works, which is so important when you're trying to, get ahead in this financial world that we're always talking about. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to sit back with the audience and we're going to listen to a discussion that we had last week about the Banker's Code, and then we'll come back and sum it up and see what our audience has to say. All right, you got anything else to add to that?
No, let's strap ourselves in and be flexible and adaptable, because this is going to change your mindset about
All
money.
right.
So, what I'm talking about is just a tiny excerpt about what the Banker's Code is about.
Mm-hmm.
The Banker's Code primarily is a mindset, thinking like a banker. As I earlier used the analogy of playing Monopoly, who always wins the game? It's the banker. And we've heard the term, he who has the gold does what? They make the rules. So there's two sets of rules in the financial industry. There's investor rules and there's banker rules. The banker rules were written for and by bankers. As a matter of fact, the investor rules are written by bankers too. And here's how it goes. There's only three teams or three groups of people in the world. One are consumers, the others are producers, and then there's the bankers. In order for a producer to produce the goods and services that we all consume today, whether it be iPhones, cars, furniture, houses, or whatever, they have to borrow money from the banker in order to produce those goods and services. They pass those costs, the cost of capital that they pay for the money that they get out the bank or that the bank loans them. They pay for that cost. They pass that cost along with a large, hefty profit onto the consumer. The consumer, we have to have a consumer in the world. And I'm going to take a little sidestep. That's why Black people are so profitable to the economy, because we're majority of consumers.
10 times more than any ethnicity on earth.
Stick with that. Stick with them. In order for money to circulate in order for the economy to go, both the producer and the banker needs consumers. So that's why you're constantly bombarded with advertisement, text messages. You can't watch a game or whatever without a million advertisements inducing you or trying to entice you to consume something. At any point in a given time, all three of them can be consumers. However, it's the banker that turns the money over and over at least 10 times. 34.5% of the average American's income goes toward payment of interest. interest on mortgages, interest on car loans, interest on credit cards, interest on you name it. Same thing goes with the producer paying interest. Einstein said it years ago, he who understands interest earns it. He who does not pays it. Every dollar, every paper dollar that earns interest is created out of thin is money that don't even exist. Okay, and I don't want to get too deep into this because I want you to read the book. But what I've just said, first of all, is the foundation of what I'm talking about. Now, the part about thinking like a banker is this. Every dollar that you have should, and I mentioned this once before in one of our episodes, that you put overalls on your money. Every dollar should earn interest, should be making you some money. Because if you're not using it to do that, there's a lot of dead money sitting in CDs and bank accounts and what have you. When you deposit $1,000 to a bank, that bank turns that money and flips it and loans out $10,000. So it's a 10 times multiple. And when thinking like a banker, I'm not talking about going out starting a bank and all that nonsense with brick and mortar, but in thinking like a bank is that both of these two, the bank makes money off the producer and they make money off the consumer. So in thinking like a bank, if we have money sitting around, and I look at it from, let me slow down. Bankers are always in the safest position, and they take the least amount of risk, and they always get paid first in any financial transaction. Hear me again. They take the least amount of risk. They get paid first. And I forgot the other one I just said, so I'm glad I'm recording it.
They take the least amount of risk.
They do the least amount of work. There you go.
Right.
But everybody else gets paid last. The manufacturer, he's the last one to get paid because he got to pay the bank back plus all the other expenses or whatever. Now, we're not saying that you don't own a business, just saying that you realize what's going on. And the bank is safe because they collateralize. And what's one of the major collateral products to use to secure a loan is real estate, income producing assets. Don't necessarily have to be all real estate, but it's primarily real estate. But any asset that produces income, the bank is going to collateralize that. And the spread is 150 basis points. In other words, if you want $1,000, they're going to get at least 1,500 in collateral. So they're always in a safe position. You're only going to lend out 65%. So they always got that cushion of 35% called protective equity. I'm going to pause right here because I'll go on and on and on and you won't, but this is just enough, man. Hopefully that will whet your appetite to show that. And here's how I said I'm already implementing. I got to add this to this. As opposed to looking for deals, and God has been dealing with me about this, y'all. And I kept saying, man, it's so hard to find a deal because cap rates are compressing and it's a converted market. Whereas typically when the interest rates are low, cap rates are compressed. And then when the interest rates start to rise, cap rates will also expand. We're supposed to be in an expansion market now, and we're not, because properties are overpriced and people are forced to overpay for them because of two reasons. One has been led by the thought that you invest for capital gains. You don't invest for capital gains. I've said this all along. You invest for what? The cash flow. That's the only purpose of investing in anything, is the cash flow. Cash flow is king and access to cash is king. So, and this could be a solution to some of the problems that exist in the Black community, because I know they certainly don't exist in the white society, and it's private lending, private capital. What is that? All three of us. We have access to at least $10,000. If we were to loan that $10,000, which becomes 30 grand out. We've heard of hard money lenders. Hard money lenders have somewhat of a negative connotation. I'm not talking about hard money lenders because you're charging points and all this stuff. But with what I'm talking about, asset-based lending, whereas that we have an asset that is producing income, we could care less about the borrower. So we don't need your credit report. We don't need your credit profile. It doesn't make a good hot chocolate about how much money you make, because that's not going to be our security. What's going to be our security is any income producing asset that you own. So as interest rates continue to rise, people are going to be priced out. Some of the investors, particularly investors like us, because they don't pencil in those increases in inflation. Where deals used to work at a 200 basis point spread above treasuries will no longer work anymore. If you got to pay 5% for the money and the deal is a 6 cap, there's only a 1% spread. There are people who right now who have signed contracts to buy real estate only to find out that, whoa, I'm underwater. They need a quick infusion. Private lenders come from the necessity is that they need cash quickly in order to take advantage of an opportunity or not to lose one. And that's where we come in at as private lenders. I just use a real quick example. I'm gonna shut up. I said I was gonna shut up earlier, so you can have a question, whatever. That 30 grand, short term, 90 days. Loan it out to somebody who needs to fill a $30,000 gap. I'm not just using that just for shits and giggles here. At a 12% return, interest only. 12% of 30 grand is 3,600. Every 90 days. You use a strategy called velocity of money. That money is short term because at 12%, nobody wants to continue to pay us 12% for a long period of time. So there's another inducement to get that money back quick. Every 90 days, you're loaning that money out. As soon as it's paid back, it's back out. 4 times 3,600, it's right at almost $16,000 in interest. And all you have to do, gentlemen, is just blow that number up. It could be 100,000, it could be 25,000. You could flip $50,000 every 90 days. And every 90 days, you're making $6 grand at 12%. Times 4, that's $24,000 in a year in a safe place. That's creating cash flow.
That sounds like loan shark. You just
It's totally legal. It's totally legal.
Yeah.
12%.
And
People will pay 12%. And matter of fact, as the interest rate continues to go 15 in a heartbeat. Here's something else. Look at your credit card statements and see what the interest rates are on those. Look at any loan document that you have and see what the interest rates are. 34.5% of our money is going to pay interest. The other 30% goes to pay the taxes. So out of the average American's income, almost 65%, y'all, goes to pay other people. That other 35% is left. That's got to go toward housing and all them bills that you got. The Banker's Code. It's a hell of a book. And even if you don't start lending money, that's beside the point. But it's going to change your mindset about how this game is played.
So you know what? That's why when the credit reporting agencies say you shouldn't be above 30% of your income, that's how they've set that 30%. I see that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that now. 30%. Now you're gonna have a different reading. It's gonna be harder for you to get credit. Your interest rate's gonna be 26, 30% in some
It
cases.
ain't gonna matter. Check this out. Yeah, I was about to say this. When it comes to, a lot of people say, I'll pay cash for the car. You end up paying more for that car by paying cash for it than you do if you take out a loan. George already know what I'm talking. Why? Because you missed that opportunity, right, George?
Yeah.
Opportunity costs.
Yeah.
So that's $6,000. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was looking at my car loan yesterday for another reason. I had some other stuff going, but I just happened to. So yeah, the interest rate was 1.9, and I think I borrowed 13 grand. So at the end of that period, I think I'll end up paying them like $1,200. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that you know, that may sound like a lot, but actually it's not, because I think I don't know if that's a 4 or 5 year loan, but you know, if you average that out, I'm really taking advantage of them because of the fact that the cost of money is more than that.
Yeah, you
And
got a
then
much lower interest rate. Yeah.
right. And then because of the fact that I make accelerated payments, I'll probably pay it off in 2 years. So
Right.
so that $1,200 that is stated on the loan documents, they're probably going to make a fraction of that. They're probably going to make about $600, which when you look at the cost of money, I come out on the winning edge because of the fact that because I put my money in other vehicles to earn higher interest rates during this period. Therefore, here again, I'm using their money to my advantage.
Absolutely. Now, of course, that you're not the average person either. So, which is just the reason crotchety old men have these type of episodes, so that you can get out of that place called average and use good financial strategies to not think like a banker, even if you don't own a bank. Here's another part with that. That same $30,000 will never leave our account if we, in fact, got a line of credit, keeping the $30,000 in our accounts, using a line of credit. Now, the line of credit may cost 5%. So what? We loaning it out at 12. We're keeping an arbitrage or a spread of 7%, because it's still much higher than inflation, and it's still a return on the dollar. And you haven't used that's called OPM, and you know that. And that's the other catch to it. Bankers never use their own money. They use the depositors' money. So it's always other people's money, and they loan that out. It's that system.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying, thinking like a banker. So I'm not saying open a bank. So in thinking like a banker, rather than moving that $30,000 that's maybe sitting in a checking account, saving account, CD, or what have you, no, don't move that. Continue to get that little 1% that they're giving you. But then do the line of credit where they're going to may charge that 5% or 4%, whatever the heck they're going to charge. Doesn't matter what they charge, because you're going to always charge more to cover that and get a spread on somebody else's money and without touching your own. Gentlemen, this thing gets even more, and it's as simple as that. The Rothschilds started this system, and it's hidden right in plain view of us.
Right.
It's so interesting, you know, and that's the whole concept is like I said, understanding how money works.
Yep.
Most people don't get that deep into it. They just think that, you know, money comes in and money goes out, but there's a lot in between. And once you understand how money works, you're able to make those financial decisions that allow you to keep more money than you normally would. And it's by watching the little things. You know, we talked about that in other episodes. Pay no interest, pay no fees. You
That's
know,
right.
things like that.
Yeah.
That, you know, that allow you to stay ahead of the game. Because then, I mean, that's what it is. It's a financial game. And like I said, it was designed that way.
Yes.
But they never gave us the instructions. You
No,
know, they never gave us the instructions on how the game works.
Yeah,
so we missed that totally. You know, we missed that totally. All we're looking at is, you know, yeah, you can buy this car, you can walk out of it today, you sign the papers here, you give me $500 down. But what you're not seeing is that they're charging you, like you say, you know, 10, 12, 13.14% interest. They're financing for 6, 7, 8 years. So at the end of that term, you know, you've paid $5,000-$6,000 for this car over what it originally cost.
Right.
You know, that's what people don't realize, that, you know, dealerships make the money off the interest. They make money off you financing the car. Sure. You know, that's why they encourage you to do that. You know, that's another income stream for them. So, you know, people don't understand that. So you have to understand that. So when you go buy a car, you say, no, I don't want your finance. I'm going to finance it from my credit union, who I know, you know, basically is going to give me a lower interest rate. Plus the depositories in the credit union are the members itself. So there's a benefit there, because they're going to let me have that money lower, and they're going to let me have it more often, because they're not going to be as stringent on the, you know, the qualifying of how I get it. So, you know, you have to do that. You have to do your own research. You have to understand, like I said, you got to understand how money works.
got to understand, because you look at it, why else would General Motors have a General Motors Acceptance Corporation? Why would Ford have Ford Motor Credit? They make money off of off of interest.
Yeah, I mean, just like we talk about multiple interest, not interest, but multiple streams of income. They look at it the same way.
Exactly.
I mean, the big thing right now is subscriptions.
Oh,
Everybody's got a subscription now. You can, they want you to buy a subscription to CVS. You pay them $3 a month. They're going to give you access to their discounts. You pay, everything's subscription based. And that what they've done is created another stream of income for themselves. It may sound very, very low to you, but when you multiply that by the thousands of people that subscribe, that's when the big dollars come in.
Check it out, man. It's just like with software. I can see Microsoft going, well, they pretty much do it now. They just do it annually. Where you have the the 365 Microsoft service, and you can't do anything without it. You're not going to do any Excel, you're not going to do any Word, you're not going to function without this Microsoft 365, right? So I've been doing my evaluations and what have you with real estate projections and things like that. And before I was getting the free software, I download it on my computer, I can use it, and every now and then they have an update. I go get that update, changed all that now. Now, in order to get that, and of course, they've added some very, very nice enhancements to it, but now subscription based. Mm-hmm. It's $100 a month. Mm-hmm. Okay. You get the same thing. You even get more, and you get, of course, all the updates and and I can share it with people. I can print these fancy reports. But to your point, it's now subscription based. Mm-hmm. $100.
Same thing with printer. I got an HP printer, and they basically charge me, X number. I think I'm at the lowest plan, which is like 99 cents a month. But the plans go much higher than that, and it's based on the number of copies you think you will make. Well, see, I don't print a lot, so I think my allocation is like 25 copies a month. And of course, if you go over that, that's where they really get you. Now they're going to start charging you whatever that monthly fee is. They'll almost start charging you per page that amount of money. So yeah, I mean, that's here again. It's a revenue stream for them. They'll give you the doggone printer, they give you the doggone ink, but they want you to subscribe to their service,
right?
And that's where they're going to make their money. And the fact that it's the fact that it's on your credit card, they don't even have to ask you for it anymore. It just automatically comes out of your account.
Right.
And to that end,
like Gary was saying, my software for my medical equipment, the sound wave equipment I use, that comes with a subscription. About every 3 or 4 months, they might have something new added to the subscription that you can download into your thing and add to your benefits. The oils, they're the same thing. There's a subscription attached to that. I'm paying about maybe 3 or 4 subscriptions to different things, the medical things that I use, for my practice. So I know exactly what you fellas are talking about.
Yep. So there's our episode. There's a episode right here.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it's been a fun time again today, and as always, we want to make certain that you hit the subscribe button. You can find us on your regular podcast information. However, we are listed on Spotify, iHeart, Google, Apple, and Stretcher. And so tell your friends, tell your colleagues, and your neighbors and friends and everybody else that you know that to tune in to the Crotchety Old Men podcast. And if you want to send us an email, feel free to email us at info@thecrotchetyoldmenpodcast.com. And until then, until we meet again, peace.
Peace.